Good evening. My name is Andy, and today I'll be playing the New York Times Flashback for October 11th, 2025. This is the history game in which we have to place 8 events in chronological order. So let's see what happened in history. 1667. The Dutch effectively trade Manhattan to the English for a Pacific island that grows their favorite spice, nutmeg. Very interesting. Okay. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood debuts. To the host Fred Rogers, the show isn't just TV. It's part of his ordained ministry, sermons in songs and sweaters. Yep, so that's gonna be way after. Um, Probably the 60s. Yeah, I mean that sounds right. Like the 60s or 70s. 68. Okay. In India, Alexander the Great's troops reach the limit of their conquests. They're not defeated or beaten. After 10 years of war, they're simply homesick. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would feel homesick too if I were away from home for like 10 years. And it's like, you're basically not home against your will. So I would place this. This would be before, but obviously it's gonna be like in the BC era, I'm pretty sure. 3 326 BCE. Okay. One of the very first films, The House of the Devil, is released. Despite the scary theme, the director wants audiences to be amazed rather than afraid. Uh First films, film didn't become like a thing until probably like the late 19th century. I don't know who directed this movie. Okay, can't really see. But the fact that they say like first films, I mean, it probably is going to be like the early 20th century. So this is what I would say where I would place it. 1896, close enough. Okay. Britain wins the 7 Years' War, but ends up with crushing debt. Its solution to tax its American colonies plants the seeds for independence. Okay, I mean, yeah, so the fact that they mention like taxing the Americans means it's probably going to be sometime around the time of the American independence. Um, yeah, it's going to be in between these two. So because of that, you had the Boston Tea Party and all that stuff transpiring after like imposing the taxes on Americans. So let's say 1770-ish or so. 1764. Okay. Huh. Happy Birthday is copyrighted. It brings smiles and makes millions, but who wrote the lyrics is still a mystery. Huh. Copyrighted. Okay. Okay, that's very interesting. Happy birthday. You know, I would guess sometime between 1764 and 1896. I mean, it seems pretty plausible, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Like, hmm, copyright. Uh, okay. Yeah, this is probably really interesting stuff. I'm not sure, but if I had to guess, I think it would be in between these two. Could be wrong though. Oh, 1935. That's a lot later. Wow. Okay. At the Olympics in Stockholm, Jim Thorpe's track shoes are stolen. Finding a mismatched pair of shoes in the trash, he wins gold medals anyways. Wow. He's got the skills, am I right? Okay. Stockholm Olympics. Are they. It's 1912, I think. Yeah, because I get kind of hazy. It gets kind of hazy with like the early 20th century. So I know it's like 1904 was St. Louis. I think 1908 was, well, that was London, right? Oh, why am I forgetting? Let me see. 1912. I think it might be 1912. Yeah. Either way, it's probably gonna be in between these two. It's like either 1912 or like 1920, because 1920 I think was Amsterdam. So I would say either 1908 or 1912. It's like it's got to be one of those two. 1912. Okay, got it. Shakespeare's Macbeth debuts. He pens an opening scene with three witches to impress his superstitious patron, King James the First. Very interesting. Okay. So, I mean, is it before 67? Hmm. Yeah, I think that seems right. I don't think it's after 67 because that seems awfully late. Like a little too late, I think, because Shakespeare died sometime before that. Hmm. Yeah, I think I would guess before 67. 1606. Okay. Using a steam engine, Edwin Drake drills the first oil well in Pennsylvania, starting the petroleum age. He never patents his methods and dies broke. Wow. Okay. Hmm. Petroleum age. Yeah, it's got to be like before 1896 for sure. Hmm. Yeah. Every time I see something oil related, I always want to go back to There Will Be Blood because that takes place. I mean, I know the movie takes place in like the late not the late 19th century, and like it takes place over probably like 15 to 20ish years or so, because because at the end it actually does kind of flash forward to the very early 20th century. So, I mean, that's kind of like my basis point because, yeah, it takes place like in the 1890s, if I had to guess. Yeah, I don't remember the exact year. Like, I think even when it starts, like, because you had Daniel Day-Lewis's character, Daniel Plainview, and then like his adoptive son whose dad died in like some kind of accident. So he basically adopted him, and that probably took place like 10-ish years before. So probably like in the 1880s, 1870s. But I would guess like it takes place like sometime in the 1860s. Because it makes the most sense. I mean, I would guess like somewhere in between these two. So let's try it. 59. So it wasn't too far off. Okay. So I'm within the 24 or within the 36% that got 24 to 27 points. So it's like pretty much even with these two. Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people missed the birthday clue. Like that's very interesting. 1893. Hmm. It's surprising that the song is actually copyrighted. Declared invalid. That is very interesting. Like, it's so funny because I never even thought that a song like that would have been copyrighted at all. But of course, it's like, it's such an American thing to try to claim ownership of like a very old song. Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. Yeah, well, learn something new every day, even though that was like the one thing that I missed. Well, I hope you enjoyed my playthrough of the New York Times Flashback. I will catch you all later.